Today we're gonna build a light indicator, something that you can have outside your room or office. This will help keep focus when you're studying, in a meeting, or just doing something important where you can't be interrupted. So let's get started. So right from the beginning, I knew that I wanted something with a Bauhaus design. When I was thinking about this product, the first thing that came to mind was a traffic light, meaning that the light would indicate if you can enter the room or not. So I would place one outside the room and another one beside my desk, acting as its switch. So I jumped over to CAD and laid out all the components that were needed to get this project going. Then came the enclosure itself. So I went on improving the base structure. This lower section serves as a mounting platform for all the other components. And when the lower and upper sections were done, I swept a profile around these and made it especially thin so that the light could shine through. And as for the user input, I thought it would be great to use the already existing button on the dev board. So I extruded a cylinder exactly above the boot button and attached it to the enclosure lid. In doing so, I could use the flexure of the 3D print and have it be the button itself. And in this way, I didn't need to have any buttons poking out of the product and keeping the Bauhaus design. As the last part, I made some paths for the wires and went on to manufacturing. So I prepared the files in the slicer and started the 3D print. And now I could go on to the electronics and programming. For this build, I needed 3 different components. The first one being the ESP32C6 mini development board, and I had a couple of those lying around. The second component is a quad level shifter. This will turn the output from the ESP32 from 3 volts to 5. The 5 volts are needed for the third component, which is an addressable LED, and 12 of them are needed for each indicator. These LEDs can easily be chained together and be controlled with a single pin from the ESP32. This can be done by connecting the data output from one LED to the data input of the next LED. And to connect all of these together, I will use a prototype breadboard. But before getting started on the main circuit, I soldered some pins to another ESP32 dev board to be able to run some tests. When that was done, I connected all the components on a solderless breadboard and went for 3 addressable LEDs. And after making the needed connections, I could go on to write some code. I connect the ESP32 to the computer, so I fire up Visual Studio Code, write a program, and then flash it into the ESP32. And then I try the program out. There are mainly 2 things that I want to try out. And that's if the boot button can be used as an input, and also if the addressable LEDs can be used without a capacitor right next to them. But when everything looks good, we move on. But before we go on to the build, I want to make a jig that will help me align all the LEDs with the same spacing in between them. Because if it differs, I think it will be visible and it will be pretty annoying. And when I had it in my hand, I knew that this would be a pretty useful tool. Then I searched for the LED pinout once more just to be sure. And having an old computer just by the workshop bench is so nice when I want to look something up quickly and I don't want to go back to the desk. When I'm sure about the pinout, I can go on and stack all the LEDs up. Here it's important to plan ahead. The better you do the planning here, the easier the soldering job will be later on. And of course I could do the design layout on KiCad or similar software, but I wanted the first version to just be made in the workshop. After all the components were in their right place, I started the soldering job. This took some time, but when you're in the middle of it, you tend to lose the track of time. And when that was done, I cut up a USB cable and attached the power lines to the breadboard. And then the 3D printer was done, at least for the indicator that would go next to my desk. But the other one that would go outside my workshop, that one had a bit of a problem. Unfortunately, the light shined through the lid, even though I had made it slightly thicker. So after thinking a bit on how thick I should make it so that the light didn't shine through, I came up with a better solution. And that was having the outer layer be white, but the inner layers be black. And this did work out pretty nicely. And the part that would be facing the wall, that was not quite as important because it wouldn't show. And now came the time for assembly. This assembly doesn't have so many steps. You just have to screw on the breadboard and then just put on the lid. But here I had to make sure that the extrusion for the button aligned with the boot button. After that, I could push the lid in with a bit of force. I designed it this way so that it sits there securely and firmly. Then I went through the same procedure for the black one as well. And for both the assemblies, I bent the edges on the lid so that if there was a slight gap, the light wouldn't shine through it, but only the diffuser. And now came the time for testing. So I power both boards and go on to push the button. And now I can explain the programming logic. Here we have 3 different states. And the first one indicates that it's free to enter. The second one is the busy mode. Here a request can be sent from the slave switch to the master switch for entering. And the third mode is the vibe mode. Here I can hold down the button to change the RGB color. And the brightness can also be changed. This can be done in the first mode by holding down the boot button and letting go when you're satisfied with the brightness. And when I see that everything is working as expected, I go on to mount them on the wall. When I designed this, I didn't want to make any mounting holes on my wall, and I thought that I could just use a double-sided tape. But this would prove to be a bit messy, at least with the tape that I got from the nearest store. Maybe some 3M tape would be better in this case. But for the next version, if there is one, I will make it so that there are both mounting holes and a place for the 3M tape. But now it was time to mount them on the wall. For the black switch, it was a bit difficult to make the cables look seamless, because it was mounted in the middle of the wall. So I put the indicator next to another cable and made the cables look like they were one. And here I could easily use the door frame to hide the cables and make the indicator blend in with the rest of the room. And just like that, I was done. And now I can activate both indicators with the master switch, and with a push of a button, I can go to busy mode, informing people that I cannot be interrupted. And if I just want the lights to be on, I can push the button yet again to enter the vibe mode. Here I tried some different color themes just to see how it would look. And since I've finished this project, I have used this indicator more than I anticipated. So it's safe to say that it was a good project and that I enjoyed it. And I really hope that you also enjoyed this video. If you want to, you can help me get to the 3rd heart here. We got the first one when we reached 1 subscriber, the second at 10, and now the next goal is 100 subscribers. I have this beside me every day and I use it as motivation. So I will keep a lookout on this panel, and I will see you in the next video.